And Michael, okay, guys, so is it ever time not to buy real estate in Hawaii? It's a great question. Thank you, Michael. When would you not? Okay, real estate agents whose job is to sell real estate. Tell us why. When is not a good time to buy real estate in Hawaii? Scott, you go first.
Yeah, actually, there's plenty of people I tell them you shouldn't buy. I've only ever had one client over my almost 20 years that's ever gotten in trouble from buying, and it's because they didn't listen to me. Yeah, I mean, if you're on a short in and out window, here for 2 or 3 years maybe, and you're in an up cycle that's going crazy, it might not be a good time. Or if you have, if you get into the debt to income ratio portions, if you're taking a lot of debt and low down to be able to get into a property, and the financial situation isn't in the right place, or the job is a little bit insecure and things like that, it might not be a good time to buy. If you're stable and you're wanting to put down roots and you can afford to be there for a while and not have to sell, then for me, I don't ever try to time the market. I'm always, whenever I finish this Kapahulu project, I'm looking to get right back into the market. I'm in the market right now. So yeah, there are cases. There's definitely times, and there's been plenty of people I've told them when we've analyzed their situation, you shouldn't buy. I don't recommend it. This is highly risky.
So Dylan, Scott's saying that basically if you're here for a short term, not a good idea. That's one of the reasons. There's others, I'm sure, but one of the big ones, if you're here for short term, if you're not for a long term hold, don't buy. What other kind of conditions have you given people to say, you know what, you probably shouldn't buy right now?
Definitely, if this is happening right now. I've told several people, or we've made offers on homes, and I'm like, this is the max you should pay. It's probably going to go over that, but I don't want to see you pay, $50,000 over in a neighborhood where it may take you 10 years to make that $50,000 back, right? Because right now that's kind of happening where I think we talked about this last show, where you have outsiders that are, just chomping at the bit to buy something, and they're not super educated about our neighborhoods are very different. They can be very close together, but they're very different. And you don't want to pay $700,000 or $800,000 in a neighborhood that home may never be worth that, in the long run, where you could buy a similar home for $800,000 in a neighborhood very, half mile away, but that one could be $1 million home in a couple of years. So you really want to make sure you're doing the research and getting some good background and getting local knowledge, because that's where, I tell people I won't let you overpay. Like I think if it's insane, like you can go make the offer to somebody else, because I don't want to get you in a situation where you're unhappy, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, because that doesn't do anything long run for my business.
So Michael, if that's not a squared up set of answers, I don't know what is. Guys, that was great. Excellent. That was really, really fantastic.
And I use, and the conventional wisdom doesn't always work, but I've been telling people, I use myself an example, you gotta take your own advice, right? I bought the house I'm sitting in April of last year, right? I went under contract in February. The world shut down in March. The conventional wisdom ones, there's blood in the streets. It's a terrible time to do anything. And I just stuck to my gun. I said, this is a good situation. This is where I want to be. And, we ended up closing on it, did work all of last year. And I probably in 12 months made $200,000 or $300,000 in equity. Like, so it's like, it's never, whenever the conventional wisdom is telling you not to do it, that's not necessarily the case, right? I mean, it depends on your personal situation and what you can handle and what makes sense at that time.
Well, when everybody zigs, you got to zag, right? That's the name of the game. If but you got to know you're zigging and you're zagging. Bernice agrees. Bernice, thank you, Bernice, for giving the shout out to Michael, who asked that great question. Good information. Yeah, gang, this is what the show is all about. It's a lot more, frankly, really, it's a lot more fun for you folks to throw the questions live. It kind of throws these guys off, which is kind of fun. It doesn't throw them off, but it gives them it gives you, frankly, what it does. Here's what